A suspect is under arrest for a kidnapping in Philadelphia that was captured by surveillance cameras.
Shooting at a Mobile gas station caught on camera.
In the blink of an eye, the ordinary can turn sinister. Imagine walking home like any other day, when suddenly you become the center of an abduction that grips the nation, all caught on camera. Picture robbers, not in masks, but wrapped in tinfoil, attempting a heist straight out of a sci-fi movie. These are not scenes from the latest blockbuster, but real crimes captured by the unblinking eye of security cameras. Welcome to 15 real crimes caught on security camera, where reality is stranger and more shocking than fiction. Number 1. Elizabeth Cook. On August 5th, 2021, South St. Louis was the stage for an incident that went from a simple car theft attempt into a perplexing saga that captivated the online community. The central figure, Elizabeth Cook, found herself in the spotlight under the most unusual and mysterious circumstances. Late one night, a man known only as Jeff returned to his car, only to be greeted by an unexpected sight. Elizabeth Cook, a woman he had never seen before, frantically trying to start his vehicle. As Jeff confronted her, camera in hand, Elizabeth spun a tale of confusion and mistaken identity, claiming a friend had directed her to borrow their car, not realizing her mistake until it was too late. The tension escalated as Jeff pointed out her attempt to tamper with his steering column, a clear sign this wasn't her first rodeo in theft. But the plot thickened when Elizabeth, realizing her belongings were trapped in the car, pleaded for their return. Jeff, steadfast and wary, denied her entry, suggesting she call the police for assistance. As she retreated into the night, Jeff was left with not just her belongings, but a Pandora's box of secrets waiting to be uncovered. Driven by a mix of curiosity and civic duty, Jeff delved into Elizabeth's phone, which she had inadvertently left behind. His initial intention was to expose her misdeeds and possibly reunite stolen items with their rightful owners. Little did he know, he was about to stumble upon a much darker narrative that extended far beyond simple theft. Among the trove of information, Jeff discovered a haunting video dated January 1st, 21, in which Elizabeth spoke of a man named Bobby Phillips. Recently released from jail, Bobby's past was clouded by Elizabeth's claims of murder, though public records painted a picture of lesser crimes. The video, recorded on the day of Bobby's mysterious death, captured Elizabeth recounting their shared living situation and a chilling directive she claimed to have received from him regarding his wish not to be revived should his heart fail, attributed to his alleged cardiac disease. But it was the documents Jeff found next that sent shivers down the spine of anyone who followed the unfolding drama. Uploaded images of Bobby's social security card, a hastily amended will naming Elizabeth as the sole beneficiary, and power of attorney documents suggested a premeditated orchestration that went far beyond coincidence. Elizabeth Cook's arrest on suspicion of burglary and drug-related offenses only added another layer of complexity to the investigation. Authorities are now painstakingly piecing together whether her involvement in Bobby Phillips's demise was merely circumstantial or if there's a more sinister plot at play. The question is, how deep does the rabbit hole go, and what secrets lie buried beneath the surface of a crime caught on camera? Number 2. El Paso Zoo. In this video, you'll see how the El Paso Zoo in May of last year was thrust into an unforeseen spotlight, all because of one person. A young woman, later identified as 26-year-old Lucy Ray, decided to take a dip into the world of the wild in a way that left the internet in disbelief and zoo officials in outrage. Caught on camera, Lucy's adventure began as she daringly scaled a fence, navigated through shrubs, and crossed a 4-foot moat to reach the spider monkey's open-air exhibit. Clad in a tank top and shorts, she appeared to be in her element, casually relaxing next to the exhibit's waterfall, seemingly without a care in the world. The video captured her tossing an unidentified object towards Libby and Sunday, two of the exhibit's resident monkeys, who approached the intruder with a mixture of curiosity and caution. What started as a whimsical escapade quickly took a serious turn as the implications of Lucy's actions came to light. Zoo officials, unaware of the incident until the footage surfaced online, expressed their dismay and concern for the well-being of the monkeys. The act of trespassing not only broke zoo regulations but also jeopardized the safety of both the animals and the intruder. The zoo's director, Joe Montesano, condemned the act as stupid, emphasizing the potential danger posed by the primates, known for their strength and sharp canine teeth. The repercussions for Lucy were swift and severe. She was immediately terminated from her position as a paralegal at a local law office, which publicly denounced her actions as irresponsible and reckless. Furthermore, Lucy faced legal consequences as the zoo pressed charges for trespassing, sending a clear message that such behavior would not be tolerated. The incident raised questions about zoo security and the need for stricter barriers to prevent future breaches. Montesano hinted at possible modifications to the enclosure, which could hinder the viewing experience for zoo visitors, all due to the thoughtless actions of one individual. Number 3. Abduction. A serene November evening in 2014 in Philadelphia's Germantown took a suspenseful turn, capturing the nation's attention and sparking an intense manhunt. Carlisha Freeland Gaither, a 22-year-old nursing assistant, was making her way home when a chilling sequence of events unfolded, all caught on a nearby security camera. Carlisha, just steps from safety, was suddenly approached by a man. Before she could react, she was forcibly grabbed and dragged towards a parked car. Despite her struggle, kicking and screaming for help, the assailant overpowered her. In a desperate attempt to escape, Carlisha managed to drop her phone and shatter a car window, but it wasn't enough. The man, cloaked in dark clothing and a hooded jacket, swiftly forced her into the vehicle and sped away into the night, leaving behind a scene of chaos and a community in shock. The video of this harrowing abduction quickly spread, igniting outrage and empathy across social media platforms and news outlets. The Philadelphia police, fueled by the urgency of the situation, released the footage to the public, offering a $10,000 reward for any information leading to Carlisha's whereabouts. The key to the investigation turned out to be the very camera that captured the abduction. Viewers of the footage noted the distinct limp of the assailant and the make of the car, a Ford Taurus. These details, combined with the widespread media coverage, led to a crucial breakthrough. Ultimately, the abductor, identified as Delvin Barnes, was apprehended just days after the abduction. Carlisha was found alive, her resilience a beacon of hope amid the ordeal. Delvin Barnes's capture brought not only relief, but also a flood of questions about his motives and past. It was revealed that Barnes had a history of criminal activity, including a suspected kidnapping in Virginia. And despite the trauma, Carlisha emerged from the ordeal with her spirit unbroken, a survivor in the truest sense. Number 4. Botched kidnapping attempt. A grandmother walking down a street in Bronx, New York, with her 3 grandchildren, faced every caregiver's worst nightmare when an unexpected threat emerged from the shadows. Santiago Salcedo, a 27-year-old man with a blanket partially concealing his identity, approached the family with unsettling intentions. In a moment that seemed suspended in time, he snatched one of the toddlers and made a run for it. The surveillance video, which captured this shocking attempt, showed the grandmother's split-second decision to chase after Salcedo, her determination fueled by an unbreakable bond with her grandchildren. Bystanders, witnessing the scene unfold, were quick to join the pursuit, and Salcedo, realizing the mounting resistance, was finally forced to release the child. His attempt to flee on a scooter was short-lived, as the police swiftly intervened, bringing an end to a harrowing episode that could have ended in tragedy. The botched kidnapping attempt not only highlighted Salcedo's alarming actions, but also opened a window into his troubled state. In the aftermath, the mother of the abducted child spoke out, suggesting that Salcedo was not mentally okay, grappling with issues far beyond the comprehension of the innocent lives he endangered. This theory was corroborated by his disheveled appearance and subdued demeanor during his court appearance. In the end, this botched kidnapping attempt of a Bronx toddler, captured in vivid detail by a security camera, will forever serve as evidence of fear, courage, and the power of community action in the face of unforeseen danger. Number 5. Teachers having affairs with students. In recent years, the breach of trust within educational institutions has come under the spotlight, casting shadows over the sacred teacher-student relationship. Cases of teachers engaging in inappropriate relationships with their students have shocked communities, leading to intense discussions about ethics, power dynamics, and the safeguarding of young individuals. In 2017, a video surfaced from a primary school in Japan, showing a teacher in his office coercing a female student into engaging in activity with him in order to get a better grade. As horrifying as this is, it is far from a solitary incident. One of the most notorious cases of teachers abusing their authority involved Mary Kay Letourneau, a former school teacher from Seattle, Washington. In 1997, Letourneau's affair with her 12-year-old student Vili Fualau became public, causing a national scandal. She was convicted of child and served 7 years in prison. Another case that made headlines was that of Deborah LaFave, a Florida teacher who pleaded guilty in 2005 to lewd or lascivious battery against a 14-year-old student. LaFave's case was particularly disturbing due to the graphic details that emerged and the debate over her plea deal, which resulted in no prison time, citing her bipolar disorder as a mitigating factor. These cases, among others, shed light on a deeply troubling issue that goes beyond individual failings, pointing to systemic gaps in the protection of students. The incidents have led to increased scrutiny of teacher-student interactions and the implementation of stricter policies and background checks for educators. Number 6. Police abductor. On a chilling evening of March 3, 2023, a routine walk home turned into a harrowing tale that would grip the heart of a nation and spark a widespread outcry for justice and reform. Sarah Everard, a 33-year-old marketing executive with dreams and aspirations like any of us, vanished into the cold London night after leaving a friend's house. The last glimpses of Sarah were captured on CCTV, crossing Clapham Common, an image that would soon be etched into the collective memory of a community shaken by what unfolded next. Wayne Couzens, a figure of authority and trust as a Metropolitan Police officer, breached the sacred bond between law enforcement and the public in the most heinous way imaginable. Under the guise of enforcing COVID-19 lockdown rules, he approached Sarah with a rented car, brandishing a fake warrant card. With the authority vested in him, he detained, handcuffed, and abducted her, setting into motion a tragic series of events that would end in an unspeakable crime. Couzens drove Sarah to Kent, where he committed the unthinkable. He ended her life. The next day, in a dark twist, he concealed her remains in woodland, attempting to erase any trace of the horror that transpired. But justice has a way of piercing through the darkest veils. Couzens' attempts to mislead the authorities crumbled, and he was arrested on March 19th. The reverberations of this tragedy extended far beyond the courtroom, igniting a nationwide discourse on safety, gender-based violence, and the urgent need for reform within the police force. In the wake of the case, Metropolitan Police Commissioner Cressida Dick resigned, a symbolic gesture towards acknowledging the profound failures that allowed such a predator to lurk within the ranks. Today, Sarah's memory lives on, not just in the hearts of those who knew her, but as a beacon for justice, accountability, and the relentless pursuit of a safer world for all. Number 7. Brazen shoplifter. In a scene that could easily be mistaken for a daring act scripted for the silver screen, a Walgreens store in San Francisco became the unlikely stage for a brazen display of shoplifting in June 2021. Captured in broad daylight, the audacity of the crime was matched only by the nonchalant demeanor of the thief and the seemingly paralyzed response of those who bore witness. As shoppers went about their day, a man with a confidence that bordered on defiance began stuffing a garbage bag with various items off the shelves. The security guard present, along with another bystander, could do little more than observe and record the unfolding drama. The thief, undeterred by their gaze or the potential repercussions of his actions, continued his spree with a casualness that belied the gravity of his actions. The climax of this real-life drama saw the shoplifter making his escape, not in a high-speed chase, but rather by calmly riding away on his bicycle through the automatic doors. The security guard's half-hearted attempt to intercept the bag of stolen goods proved futile, adding a layer of disbelief to the already shocking event. The footage, shared on social media by a reporter who happened to witness the event, quickly spiraled into a viral sensation. Critics were quick to point out the apparent inaction of the security guard, while others highlighted the need for more robust security protocols in stores. The absence of police intervention, despite the clear evidence captured on video, further fueled the outrage and debate. Number 8. Azam Mangori. 24-year-old Azam Mangori made headlines for a crime that was as sinister as it was tragic. In March 2021, Mangori encountered Lorraine Cox, a 32-year-old woman, while she was on her way home in Exeter, England. The encounter took a dark turn when Mangori lured Cox back to his flat above a kebab shop. The horrifying events that followed were meticulously pieced together by investigators thanks to crucial security camera footage. The cameras captured the last known images of Cox alive, walking with Mangori, unaware of the grim fate that awaited her. This footage became a pivotal piece of evidence, tracing Cox's final steps and linking Mangori to her disappearance. The investigation uncovered the distressing details of how Mangori tragically ended Cox's life and then took measures to hide his actions. Over the following days, Mangori made calculated moves to cover his tracks, including using Cox's phone to pretend she was still alive to her family and friends. His actions displayed a chilling level of premeditation and detachment from the gravity of his crime, and as a result, he was sentenced to jail for at least 2 decades. Number 9. Robbers wearing tin foil as a disguise. 2 robbers in southern Brazil thought they had the perfect plan to outsmart a bank's alarm system in March 2023. Their genius idea? Wrapping themselves head to toe in aluminum foil in the hopes of sneaking past sensors undetected. The robbers, seemingly inspired by a mix of creativity and misconception, embarked on their heist in the middle of the night. They breached the bank's defenses by breaking through a wall and proceeded to navigate the interior in their reflective attire, aiming for the main safe. However, there was a big hole in their plan, as they overlooked a crucial aspect of modern security systems: surveillance cameras. These cameras continued to record their every move, capturing the bizarre sight of the foil-clad duo as they maneuvered through the bank. The bank's security team must have had a field day watching 2 silver figures moving on their screens like characters from a low-budget sci-fi movie. They quickly called the police, who promptly responded to the scene. Although the robbers had already made their escape by then, the police were able to make progress in the investigation by tracing a vehicle back to one of the suspects. This botched robbery attempt, more hilarious than harrowing, will surely be remembered as the day 2 men tried to beat the system dressed as leftovers. Number 10. Grand Theft Auto. This video shows a daring individual in Houston who decided that a GameStop was his gold mine before making a break for it in a shiny Camaro. Now, you'd think if you're going to lead the cops on a merry chase, you'd pick something less conspicuous than a Camaro, right? But no, our thief wasn't about to let common sense get in the way of a good story. As the helicopter's cameras rolled, viewers were treated to a spectacle of the Camaro weaving through traffic with a kind of reckless abandon that could only spell trouble. The driver, perhaps fancying himself a real-life action hero, seemed to underestimate one crucial aspect of his escape plan: Houston's notorious traffic. There's our thief, stuck on the shoulder, probably wishing he'd stolen a bike instead. Finding himself ensnared in a web of vehicles, the reality of his situation began to dawn on him. The shoulder of the road offered no refuge, and his once inconspicuous white Camaro now stood out as the beacon for law enforcement. With police helicopters and news crews tracking his every move from the sky, the notion of blending into the crowd of cars faded faster than his chances of a clean getaway. In a finale that lacked the dramatic getaway you might expect, our would-be action star pulled over at a traffic light, surrounded by semi-trucks and unsuspecting commuters. As the police closed in, there was a moment, just a moment, where he sat in his car, probably pondering his life choices. Eventually, reality sank in, and he surrendered, marking the end of one of the most half-baked Grand Theft Auto attempts the news crew had ever seen. It just goes to show, when it comes to outrunning the law, maybe leave the Camaro at home and plan your escape route a little better. Number 11. Gay couple beat up in Philadelphia. In a deeply unsettling incident that shook Philadelphia in September 2014, a gay couple fell victim to a brutal attack that was not just a mere act of violence but a hate crime that sparked widespread condemnation. This appalling event, captured in the unblinking eye of a surveillance camera at the intersection of 16th and Chancellor, just a whisper away from the bustling Walnut Street, would later play a pivotal role in bringing the perpetrators to justice. Captured in vivid detail by the camera, the footage revealed a group of inebriated young adults, 3 men and 3 women, weaving their way through the streets around 10:45 p.m. The perpetrators, later identified as Philip R. Williams, 24, Catherine G. Knott, 24, Kevin J. Harrigan, 26, along with their companions Elizabeth Foley, 23, Brian Doherty, 23, and Patrick Waldron, 26, appeared oblivious to the camera's gaze as they stumbled upon their unsuspecting victims. The two men, aged 27 and 28, had been enjoying a simple evening out, walking from a restaurant, their night about to take a harrowing turn. The surveillance footage, released by the police in a bid to harness the power of the public for leads, captured the precise moment the encounter turned violent. The group's interaction with the couple quickly escalated, their drunken bravado morphing into outright aggression. As a result, the victims had to be hospitalized. In the days following the attack, the Philadelphia Police Department made a decisive move by releasing the footage to the public, a call to action for anyone who might recognize the assailants. Social media users dissected the video, analyzing the suspects' clothing and appearance, their collective effort turning into a powerful tool for justice. Finally, 3 of the perpetrators were identified, arrested, and taken to court for their crimes. Number 12. Company rivalry. In a twisted tale of rivalry turned deadly, Faraz Suleiman and his cohorts found themselves at the center of a tragic saga, all captured by Suleiman's own CCTV cameras. The year was 2019, and the stage was set in a seemingly ordinary neighborhood where 2 competing businesses stood side by side. Quick Shine, a car wash venture that had recently expanded into selling tires, and Rhode Island Tires, owned by Suleiman. The new competition did not sit well with Suleiman, leading to an escalation that would have catastrophic consequences. As the rivalry intensified, so did the acts of hostility, culminating in a violent plot that would forever mar the community. Suleiman, unable to tolerate the competition, decided to take drastic measures. On May 20th, for a sum of £1,500, he and an associate conspired to hire a hitman with one grim objective: to eliminate the owner of Quickshine right in front of his establishment, ensuring Suleiman could witness the demise of his adversary. However, the plan took a horrific turn when a 19-year-old law student, innocently walking to the grocery store, became an unintended victim of this ruthless scheme. The hitman, lying in wait for the Quickshine owner, opened fire, but one bullet missed its intended target, tragically striking the young student instead, ending her life. The cruel irony of the situation was that the entire episode was recorded by the very cameras installed by Suleiman at Rhode Island Tires. Unbeknownst to Suleiman and his accomplices, these recordings would become the damning evidence that would unravel their plot. The police, upon investigating the shooting, requested the CCTV footage, leading to a chilling viewing session where the crime was laid bare for all to see. In the aftermath, 8 individuals, including the hitman, Suleiman, and those involved in the conspiracy, were charged with crimes related to the young girl's death and the attempted assassination of the Quickshine owner. The incident serves as a harrowing reminder of how business rivalries can spiral out of control, leading to unintended and tragic consequences, all under the watchful eye of modern surveillance. Number 13. Boston bomber captured on surveillance camera. In April 2013, the Boston Marathon was struck by a devastating incident that left the city and the world in shock. At the heart of this tragedy were the 2 brothers, Dzhokhar and Tsarnaev. These cameras captured Dzhokhar's movements before and after he and his brother placed 2 homemade bombs near the marathon's finish line, leading to the deaths of 3 individuals, including a child, and injuring over 260 others. The crucial break in the investigation came from a department store's security camera, which showed the Tsarnaev brothers walking near the marathon route with their deadly backpacks. The FBI, leveraging this footage, released images of the suspects, urging the public to help identify them. The footage revealed a chilling calmness in Dzhokhar as he planted one of the bombs. Unlike the panicked reactions of the crowd to the explosion, Dzhokhar appeared unfazed, quickly blending into the fleeing crowd, leaving behind the chaos he helped create. This evidence, alongside other footage, formed a damning narrative against him, leading to his arrest and subsequent trial. Dzhokhar Tsarnaev's trial brought to light not only the horrifying details of the bombing, but also the motivations behind it. The prosecution made a case based on the radical beliefs that he held, while the defense argued Dzhokhar's influence by his older brother. As a result, Dzhokhar was sentenced to death, though this sentence has not yet been carried out. He is currently confined at a high-security prison in Florence, Colorado. Number 14. Stabbed because of bad manners. Joan Nunez, a 37-year-old from Gowanus, Brooklyn, found herself in a deadly altercation over a simple act of courtesy. On the night of September 20th, around 11:30 p.m., Nunez held open a shop door for Edwin Pedrosa, 42. However, Pedrosa's failure to acknowledge the gesture with a thank you led to a heated exchange between the two. The argument, caught on police surveillance footage, escalated quickly within the confines of the shop. The footage paints a chaotic scene. Nunez, identifiable in white, is seen engaging in a physical struggle with Pedrosa. At one point, Pedrosa appears to aggressively pin Nunez against a wall. The confrontation didn't end there. It spilled out onto the street, where the dispute took a tragic turn. According to police reports, Pedrosa, in a fit of rage, pulled out a knife and stabbed Nunez in both the stomach and neck before fleeing the scene on an e-bike. Despite being rushed to the hospital, Nunez succumbed to his injuries the following day, marking a tragic end to what began as a call for basic politeness. Pedrosa was later apprehended by Brooklyn police and faced charges of manslaughter and possession of an illegal weapon. Number 15. Pharmacy robbed in broad daylight. In broad daylight, an audacious robbery unfolded at Wellspring Pharmacy, leaving the community in shock and disbelief. The Oakland Police Department's surveillance footage vividly captured the Brazen act, showing a group of robbers swiftly and methodically clearing out the pharmacy's shelves and counters. What's more, the pharmacy heist was just one incident in a series of flash mob-style attacks that targeted high-end stores across the Bay Area. Just days before, a swarm of looters had descended upon a Louis Vuitton store in San Francisco, shattering windows to make off with luxury goods, resulting in the arrest of 8 individuals. The spree of lawlessness continued as a Nordstrom store in Walnut Creek witnessed a similar fate, with around 80 masked assailants armed with crowbars wreaking havoc. These orchestrated flash mob robberies sent ripples of outrage and concern through the Bay Area. Questions loom large about the security measures in place and the overall safety of the retail landscape, particularly in the bustling holiday season. Experts are divided over the motivations behind such daring heists, with theories ranging from economic desperation and the lure of social media fame to sheer opportunism. However, there's also a critical look at the recent shift in policies and laws, which some argue have made the consequences for shoplifting and theft less daunting, potentially emboldening would-be criminals. The incident at Wellspring Pharmacy stands as a stark reminder of the challenges facing retail security and law enforcement in today's climate. Thanks for watching another episode. Click the next video on your screen for more.